Association formulates policies, game rules, and standards for inter-school competition. The schools of Arkansas have adopted these rules on eligibility, which correspond to those recommended by the National Federation. The Arkansas Activities Association recognizes that athletes represent more than themselves in athletic competition. They represent their team, their fellow students, their teachers, and the community. Athletes who display good sportsmanship reflect high moral standards.
Welcome, football fans, to Robinson Center Football on the PCSSD Sports Network, brought to you by Natural State Sports. I'm Tyler Chenault, voice of Robinson Sports Network, along with my broadcast crew. Tonight on production, we have David Tooley, and on our main cam tonight will be Mark Miller. We will just have the main cam tonight, so it's just us three at work today. So thank you for joining us. It's a nice night, a little bit warmer than it was last week at Marlton, but it should be a good night, especially once that sun gets down and we get ready to play some football here. Both teams looking good on the field. Everybody's warmed up. Field's clear now. Got a little bit of band playing in the background. It's a great atmosphere for some Friday night football in Arkansas. So we're going to kind of look at our game tonight, get a little preview, see what Watson Chapel has done this year, get a little introduction to them. So tonight, according to Hootens, we've got the Joe T. Robinson Senators, your Joe T. Robinson Senators, ranked number 2 in Class 5A. We are 2-1 on the season, 1-0 in conference from last week against Marlton. Did I lose it? Okay, no. And then we've got Watson Chapel at number 23 in Class 5A, 1-3 on the season and 0-2 in conference. They played fellow Pulaski County Special School District Little Rock Mills last week. Little Rock Mills did get the mercy roll. They beat them. Let's see, it was 42-14. Mills is still looking good this year. Watson Chapel was very run-heavy last week, just like we saw from Marlton, so I'd expect to see there were a lot of 22 personnel, 2 tights, 2 running backs in the backfield. So I expect to really see a test for our front 7 again this week. We stood up pretty good against Marlton, and I think Marlton had a little bit more size on the offensive line than Watson Chapel looks to. Hadn't got a great look at them yet. We'll see when they get out here, but I expect a pretty good game from that front 7 of Watson Chapel. And Mills moved the ball pretty easily last week against Watson Chapel. Hope to see that continue. Hopefully we can see King Freeman eat a little bit more on the ground. See Quentin Murphy sling it, and then, it just look just like we did last week. Last week it was a good game offensively, good game defensively for us against a pretty good Marlton team that had some success to start the season. Watson Chapel is just kind of on the other end of that. Marlton came in 3-0. Watson Chapel's coming in 1-3, so they'll look to kind of get back on track here tonight. So I expect to see some really good fight out of them here, especially on their home field in front of their fans. All right, and then we'll kind of take a look at some stats that we got for the year for your Robinson Senators. So on the year, Quentin Murphy is 23 for 35 through the air with 304 yards. That's 66 completion percentage, pretty good. averaging over 100 yards a game, 5 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. Would like to see him continue to get those touchdowns up, but keep the interceptions down. One of the keys for any offense is to make sure that you don't have any turnovers, hold on the ball whenever you got the ball, and put it in the end zone. And they've been pretty efficient, keep holding on to the ball. Besides that, early in that Forest City game, whenever they were turning the ball over, Coach Escola looks like he got that fixed last week. Really stressed the importance of ball security and keeping your hands on the ball whenever you've got it. On the ground, obviously we got King Freeman, 28 carries, 321 yards. That's 28 carries, 321 yards in just 2.5 games. Because if you remember Forest City, we almost made it to halftime. The weather got us, kind of kicked us out. So he's got 320 yards through just 2.5 games, and that's very impressive. So he's averaging 107 yards per game. He's got 8 touchdowns, so throughout 2.5 games, 8 touchdowns. We'll say it's 3 games, so he's almost averaging 3 touchdowns a game. So it's been a very, very impressive year so far for Noah Freeman. Receiving, we've got our leading receiver right now is Brandon Grill. He's got 5 receptions for 124 yards. And then our leading touchdown scorer is Chase Nichols. He's got 9 receptions for 76 yards, but he has 3 touchdowns along with those 9 receptions. So, looking pretty good offensively. We did pretty good last week, kind of mixing it up. We've been very run heavy. That's where we've had most of our success in the first 2 games. But last week, really saw the Senators, throw the ball a little more, have a lot more success throwing the ball. Quentin Murphy, he threw some really good balls last week. His accuracy is very improved from the first 2 weeks, so I'm excited to see how that trend continues. We can still establish the run, but we've also now shown that we can be successful through the air. So it'll be exciting to see how Quentin Murphy can continue on that trend and continue to show defenses across the 5A that he is a threat on the with his feet, but he's also a threat with his arm. And then just a few quick defensive stats to look at before we take our first break here. Leading tackler right now is Ashton Williams, number 6, the heavy hitter. Anytime Ashton's in on the tackle, there's a good chance that you're going to hear those pads pop and get some sparks flying. He's got 33 total tackles, 17 solo. He's averaging over 10 tackles a game, 4 tackles for a loss. I've also got our next leading tackler is old Tank Reese. Tank had himself a pretty impressive sack last week on Marlton's quarterback and coming free off the edge and laid a good lick on him. It's really impressive to see somebody of his age. It's not his size because he's the same size as everybody else out there, which again is crazy to me. But a freshman to be playing like that under the lights and in his first conference game and to step up and have such a huge impact for his team. So very impressive from Tank there to start out the season. And then our final one, total sacks. We've had 4.5 sacks on the season. We were really, especially in that PA game, we got a lot of pressure on the quarterback, just didn't get home. So if there's one thing I'd like to see, and it might not be too easy to do tonight with being how run-heavy Watson Chapel is, but I'd like to be able to get some more pressure on the quarterback and affect him more while he's in the pocket. This game and last week, didn't have too many options to get to the quarterback, but we'll see if we can improve that. Maybe we can get a little lead here and make them have to throw the ball to try and catch up and see if we can put a little bit more pressure on the quarterback than we have been. Whenever you see a lot of run-heavy teams, it's tough. All right, so we're right up against the 6:45 break, so we'll go ahead. We'll take a quick break. Whenever we return, we'll continue our pregame show, get a look at the rest of the PCSSD games that we've got going on tonight, and kind of look at some of the games to watch across the school district and across the state tonight. We'll see you right after the break. Welcome back to the Robinson Center Football on the PCSSD Sports Network, brought to you by Natural State Sports. You are watching Robinson Sports Network tonight. We're getting closer to kickoff. Got about 14 minutes here before kickoff, and we're going to take a look at some of the games across the state and the games that we've got going on at Pulaski County Special School District. So our Pulaski County Special School District game of the week is the number 21 Pine Bluff Zebras at number 14 Maumelle Hornets. So we got a pretty big game over there down in Maumelle. Let's see what. So Pine Bluff, it's got a pretty good quarterback down at Pine Bluff, threw 2 touchdown passes last week. They did lose to Valonia, so hopefully Maumelle can continue that losing trend for Pine Bluff tonight and continue on their pretty successful season. They did struggle against Whitehall a couple weeks ago, and they were off last week. But had a pretty good game offensively against Whitehall, especially to start. So hopefully Maumelle can come out, continue that offensive success, and then continue it from the first half to the second half. It looks like we might be having the national anthem here soon, so I am gonna kind of stop talking and with that coming, and then I'll be right back with you after we have national anthem.